Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. We're here another week, another moment where we have to talk about the Club Leon crisis moment, as the title of this episode is called, because we're here to evaluate the past 4 consecutive losses. We're here to evaluate kind of mid-ish season. Season's gone by very quickly with this compressed season. So we're not too far from the end. So we're here to talk about everything Club Leon in English, of course. So anybody listening to us via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, let us know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Feel free to pour out your heart. Any comments that you guys have, we'll definitely interact with them and post them on the screen. So, Louis, Carlos, gentlemen, how are we feeling ahead of Atlas game at this point?
Look, I'll put it this way. I didn't even want to bother to do the research to figure out when the last time we lost 4 straight league matches was. Like, I can't even remember when that was. It's been, definitely not
was it
at any point
No?
It wouldn't have been at any point in the Ambriz era.
No.
Might have been in the Chavo Diaz era. I mean, we did lose a lot of games in that last Nacho Ambriz season, but I don't think we ever lost 4 in a row. I was trying to figure out, especially like the last 4 in a row that I personally attended. And I just couldn't bring myself to do the research necessary to figure out when that was. I just couldn't do it. I'll say this though. I think, there's a certain number of consecutive losses where they start hitting differently. You just don't, you're not as devastated anymore because the expectations for the season have clearly changed. The expectations for the season are clearly not what they were coming in. You measure those expectations, and you hope for a strong finish to the season. But whatever else positive they do at this point in the season, they're playing with house money, I would say, because it's pretty much. At this point, it's hard not to look at it as a lost season. They're past the midway point, and they're going in the wrong direction. And it just doesn't hit the same way. I'm not, one loss when you have high expectations is pretty devastating. 2, very devastating. 3 is kind of the breaking point. And then 4, it's like, well, you know what? This just isn't going to be our season. And I'm just not, I took that Santos loss pretty hard, even though I wasn't there in person. But this Pachuca one, I was just like, as we often say in the chat, welp, that's kind of how I am with it at this point. It just doesn't really hit hard, but at the same time, the Liga MX season is designed so that if you win a couple of games in a row at any point, you're right back in the fight.
I was just going to say that. It's never over till like the very last game.
It's never, even if you're in the last 3 or 4 places in the table, it's never over practically until pretty much the last day of the season, especially now with the 12 getting in. So, I think our ceiling at this point is probably spots 9 through 12 in the repechaje. I don't think we can aspire towards much more than that. But if they get in and if they've somehow managed to turn this around and at least show good form and they get in, who knows what can happen. So, there's that to think about too. There's a scenario in which, we could start to value the results again. They win 2 or 3 games in a row, and then all of a sudden it's game on again. And looking at their schedule, they got a lot of games coming up against teams who are struggling just as much as they are. So there are points to be had there. Atlas is one of those teams. Cruz Azul, we still have to play. They're in free fall. Really the only scheduled loss I would say that's left on the calendar for sure is the match against Tigres in Monterrey. Other than that, they got it's crazy to talk about winnable games on a 4-game losing streak, but they still have a lot of winnable games on the schedule. Still have to play Necaxa, who just lost. I can't believe they just lost 4. They lost 4-0 to Chivas of all teams. that hadn't won in the tournament. At home, they lost 4-0. I mean, we still have to play Gallos Blancos. We still have to play Querétaro. Like, there are points on the table still. So at the same time, look, I'm willing for them to harness me back in, to draw me back in. But right now, if they were to lose a fifth in a row, I'd be like, all right, that's just kind of how the season's going. If they were to win, and then they were to win the next one after that, we'll talk then.
Yeah, you don't really know where this team's going. I was telling you guys that before we went live, you don't really know where this team's going right now. You don't know if how we're going to come out and play the next game with Renato Paiva changing the tactics every game. It seems more like he's experimenting now rather than actually going out there to try to win a game. So it's a little concerning, but like Louis said, no, it's not over till it's over. Querétaro wins 2 matches. They're in repechaje. Like, that's how close it is. So for us, if we win one game, we're right back in it. But it can't just be one game. We got to have like a good comeback.
Yeah. It's just I have so many thoughts running in my head, but one of them is, like you had mentioned, Louis, Atlas has not done the best season. We have the same amount of points. They're literally in 14th place. A Cruz Azul that has been thrashed, has been thrown all over the place. I mean, you saw the players, coming up, reclamándoles a los jugadores. I think Shaggy was like, haven't slept for 2 days and all that stuff, which, I mean, that's another off topic. But I think this season, it's really all around. I mean, yes, Necaxa lost to Chivas, but Necaxa hasn't been the best. They've had like so many draws. Then you look at, Mazatlan, who's been like kind of struggling a bit, kind of winning games here and there. Pumas, since with Dani Alves, they've been, I don't know, they're like 20 plus goles en contra. I mean, and they're right underneath us. And it's just an overall season. I feel like Paiva, ever since the Monterrey game and the Mazatlan game, has been trying to play it safe. So I do agree with Carlos. Kind of been experimenting. Kind of been like, you know what, we're not. He kind of panicked and was like, I don't want to go and play out the same. Kind of be more precautious. And I think that's what he's been doing. Hasn't really worked out in the best way. Obviously, with losing against Santos, and then unfortunately that the Pachuca game, which we'll definitely talk about because I have so many questions about that game. But yeah, I mean, if you guys don't have anything else, we'll go ahead and go into the pregame.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. The song stuck in my head.
William Tecillo is close to coming back. It is said that he's about a week away from coming back. So we might expect him to be back on the upcoming matchday roster. If not, then the next one for sure. But he's very close to coming back. Secondly, there's a rumor that came out. I don't know if you guys watch Tarjeta Roja on YouTube. It's a show by Cheque Gasca and Edgar Armendariz. Really good show. I recommend you guys tune into that. But they talked about unpaid earnings that the players had not received. They said it was either a quincena or a bonus. And they had a screenshot from somebody on the inside. Obviously, it wasn't released. Otherwise, I would have sent it to you guys. But there was a screenshot out there that they received about players not receiving bonuses. And this is why suddenly we saw like a shift in, I don't know, attitude, fight, dog, whatever it was that we had against America. And then suddenly we don't have it for the past 4 games. So just a little rumor in our rumor central to discuss. Anyone hear about it? Anybody know anything about it?
No, this is the first time hearing about that.
Me too. I've not heard about that. But would it be bonus from what? Like,
So I think it was from the America game. This is my opinion because I don't know if you guys have seen the Alexis Vega. There's a podcast that he joined where he talked about how players receive certain bonuses when they play against America, Chivas, like the big teams, right?
Yeah.
And he said that they like sometimes triple the earnings when you win against those teams. So those bonuses against America, you beat America, that's a large payout. So if you didn't receive that, I'd be kind of mad too, you know? So it makes me think like was this un castigo de Renato Paiva because they received so many red cards and they got a red card that game too? Was that the castigo? I guess.
Okay.
I don't know,
I
but as professionals, you can't just mail it in because you didn't get a bonus. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Like they're
No,
making
I
as
think
much
the same
money as
thing.
there are, as much as their money as they're already making.
Hmm.
We can't swear on this podcast, but that's a bunch of nonsense. That's not I would not accept that as any sort of excuse whatsoever for the poor play in the last few matches.
I agree. I literally was thinking the same thing. These
Same.
players already get paid enough, and I get it. Yes, you get the bonuses for that, and I'm sure players have clauses about you know if they score, if they do this, blah blah blah, they get more. Cool, that's their own thing. But where's the like Lou was saying? Where's the passion for the team? Where's the after that? Like, oh, so if you don't get a bonus, you're not gonna play. You're not do your best. I mean, I think that's pathetic.
It is, but I
Yeah,
mean,
I certainly wouldn't want to get the reputation for being the kind of player who mails in when they don't get a bonus. I mean, these guys got to be thinking about their careers further down the road, not just this season. You don't want to get the reputation for being the kind of player who does that sort of thing. So I just think that is very low class. If there's any truth to it at all, I think that's inexcusable.
yeah, if there is, I sent you guys the link on
Yeah.
the chat, by the way. If you guys want to check out that video, it's in there. So,
Okay.
but yeah, the Cheque Gasca and Edgar Armendariz have a really, really good show. They do it weekly, usually after every game, and it's very informative. They usually drop like their post game reactions, any breaking news, stuff like that. So I recommend you guys tune into that. It's pretty good.
I'll check it out. I think I've listened to Almendari's on like right after the game on the Twitter space with
Yeah,
other people.
yeah,
It's
yeah. They do a
funny.
Twitter space.
It's funny. I mean, it's like all of us just jumping on there, and just saying how we feel, and some of them a little bit more than others, and
I need to
using
join one of those next time.
you need to listen to it. I'm sometimes laughing because I'm just like thinking the same thing, or I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what game did you watch that I'd watch? So it's pretty fun. But go ahead, Carlos.
That was it. That was it. I don't know. Let's get into this game, I guess.
Yeah, let's do it. Want to do the starting lineup?
Yeah, starting lineup. No surprises. Rodolfo. Actually, there was surprises. We didn't go back to a 4-4-2, 4-4-1-2 or whatever. We actually stayed with the back line of five, but this time Fidel Ambriz was used as a center back instead of Barreiro, and I didn't know that starting the game. So we had Castillo Celestin, got his first start and a red card. Paul Velon, Osby Rodriguez, Fidel Ambriz, Jefecito, Montes Campbell, Fede, who got a start, surprisingly, Davila, and obviously Cota on goal. Biggest surprise, I think for me was Fede. What about you guys?
I think
Fede?
so too, since he's been kind of erased. And I think, you had answered my question, Carlos, about like kind of being erased because of answering back to Byron. I mean, you can see Byron doesn't play with that stuff, and he's, trying to keep a tight ship and stuff. So I was glad to see him back because I'm like, where has this player been? Like he was there in the beginning and then kind of erased, and he still needs to make his mark in this team. So that was a
And
surprise for me.
keeping it real, I thought he played okay. I thought
Yeah.
there were people I saw. I think they're so accustomed to mediocrity from him that they're not they didn't want to view his match objectively. I thought he played it. I thought he played pretty decently. I didn't think he was the problem at all. I remember he had one really good tackle on Kevin Alvarez. I can't, whose pretty boy face I cannot stand looking at. So that made me happy. Nor could I stand all the fangirls in the stands shouting how much they loved him the entire match.
Oh gosh. Let's talk about. Funny enough, me and Tom were watching the game. I said, "Look," and I said this at the beginning of the game. I was like, glad we haven't had a red card. I think it was the first. It was the first yellow that Celestine had, and I said, "Look,
Oh,
if
you
anybody's
jinxed
gonna get
it.
a, No, I was like, if anybody's getting the next person on Leon is gonna get a red card, it's gonna be Celestine. Watch. And honestly, se salvó de la roja the first one. That second one was not even a yellow. But hey, I mean, I really like him, but he needs to tone it down a bit. He's getting adjusted to the league, and I think, I mean, obviously we see Liga MX, some of these fouls that are called are very soft. Players are just very like you can't touch them like a little bit because they just roll over and make the most dramatic, actuación and blah blah blah. So it was unfortunate, but
Yeah, I think they should probably adjust the VAR rules to allow revision of second yellows. Maybe not the first one, but the second yellow, anything involving a possible expulsion, sending off. I think they should be able to review that because there have been some games. There have been some games with red cards. I hate even saying it that way, but I mean there have been so many of them. Some of them, it hasn't seemed to have affected us that much. We've played harder, even. On a few occasions, done better, looked better. Obviously, the Pumas game is the prime example. But yeah, this time it definitely made a difference, and not in our favor. So yeah, it would have been nice to be able to review that. I mean, I think we at least hold on for the 0-0 if we stay with 11 men. And yeah, that was frustrating for sure.
Speaking of yellows, Byron Castillo has 4 yellows. Mid-season, 4 yellows, one more, and he's suspended. So, and we don't have anybody to replace him because Avion's out. So, not looking good there.
No, it's not.
No, they'll have to get very creative when he inevitably gets his next one.
Yeah, because he's gonna get it. He's like a yellow card machine.
Well, he plays very aggressively. And I mean, so the players that he's been tasked with covering. I mean, I know people have been critical of his defense. I think they're not watching hard enough, quite frankly. Yeah, he's had some blunders, just like the rest of everyone on the entire back line has. But the players he's been tasked with keeping under wraps the entire season, yeah, he's going to rack up some yellows. That's just kind of the nature of the beast.
I agree. So we had a comment by Mappy TV said we need a whole new center back pairing and also change the midfield, which I think I have expressed is the problem.
The last part way more than the first part.
Yes. I mean, obviously, I think we're waiting for Tecillo to come back.
We're waiting for Tecillo to get back. I like a Tecillo Belon pairing, even though I mean I think they're both left-minded players, but
yeah.
Why not Tecillo on the left wing?
Yeah, Tecillo on the left wing, I could deal with that. I mean, as I've said many times, that's where I like him best. But yeah, we're waiting for him to get back. I mean, I don't think I honestly, aside from the red card, I liked what I've seen from Celestine so far.
Me too.
And obviously, everyone has liked what they've seen from Belon so far. He has a bright future with his club, I think. I'm not as worried about the center back pairing. Obviously, I mean, Barreiro is the weak link there, I would say. If there's a way that he gets fewer starts, I'm in favor of that. I think that would help a lot. Defense looked better with him benched. I think we can all agree on that. I mean, if you think differently, please chime in. But I mean, I think that the back line looked far better, looked a lot more solid with Barreiro benched for the first 60 minutes or whatever it was of the Pachuca match.
I agree.
How do we like Fidel Ambriz as center back? Because the both games he's been played as center back, he's done pretty good.
I think this past game he did better. He did better. That's all I got to say for that.
So do we?
He may have more of a future there than as a contención.
There you go. That's what I was going at.
Yeah. Because a contención, he's just not.
He's not. He has not been the nobody has really been the answer there, but he hasn't been the answer there.
That's been a struggle. Defensively, I think with Tecillo, when Tecillo comes back, we could do a couple of different pairings. We could do Tecillo as a left back, Belon, Celestine, and then Byron. Or we can do, well, no, if they say they're left-footed, because I was saying maybe we can have Jairo as a left back, and then Belon Or we can do Tecillo and Celestine, but I don't want to sit down Pelon.
I don't think he's going to use Jairo as a left back. I think that experiment's over. He used him once, but I think that experiment's over.
I mean, at this point, if he's just experimenting, might as well do it
Yeah.
again. Because
Well, I mean,
my question is, how do you how do you sub on George Diaz Bryce over a Yairo? A Yairo, a player that can obviously he hasn't been his finest. He hasn't been his finest, but he has had good moments. Yairo is a danger. How are you gonna sub in George Diaz Bryce respectfully? Because when he subbed in and out to the end of the game, I did not see anything before Yairo or Platano.
no idea. I don't know what this guy is. I don't know. I don't know
It's
what to
one of
say.
those things where I mean, you just get the impression that the orders to give that guy minutes are coming from a higher place. It almost feels like that kind of a situation because he's literally never shown anything ever whatsoever in either of his stints with the club.
Yeah, I mean, just send him down to La Sub-20 and give somebody else a chance. Bring up Saul Zamora, bring up Ian Gonzalez, bring up Rangel, bring up somebody else. But, this guy for years, he's shown that he doesn't have the quality to be in first division. So, to answer your question, I don't know. I don't know why he got subbed in. I would have expected Jairo, even Platano, but not Jorge Diaz Price. I'm sorry.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. I told Tom, I was like, is he doing something in practice that he just gives him the in to go and start in get in the game? But even then, I mean, respectfully again, what did he do? Did he change the game? Did he get porto? Because I didn't see it. And if this keeps happening, I really have to question. I don't know. Send by a DM or I don't know, Louis. Next time you get there early, say, why can I talk to you for a sec? I have a question.
Nah,
I'm kidding.
you know how defensive he gets about his lineup decisions. Like he's been
Yeah.
very quotable about that. He's like, maybe I see something in them that you guys don't. That was one of his most famous quotes so far. He's had to be on the defensive a lot recently because of the poor results. And but it's at some point it's like, profe, the proof is in the pudding. Put up or shut up. He's not putting up. You know, like anyone can see that. Even the most casual fan can see that he's not contributing anything. So I think Paiva's a little bit stubborn. Can be a good quality in a coach, but it can also be very detrimental. I think. I think this case is a little bit more the latter, as shown by his insistence on putting guys like Diaz Price, giving them minutes that they don't deserve. I think you are muted, Cuddy.
Cuddy, you're muted. Cuddy, you're muted.
Sorry. Shout out to Sanaku, always commenting. Sorry, it's muted. Commenting saying perhaps they're giving him minutes in order to sell. And then Mapitave said, ain't no one buying Price playing like that.
No, I mean, I hope we don't sell him. I hope we just give him away at this point.
Yeah, at this point he's worth maybe a day old bread from Jimmy John's. That's about what he's worth at this point. That's what I would pay for him.
I don't think
Yeah.
you would want the bread.
Yeah.
I
Some
might almost be
bonos.
happier with the bread, to be honest.
We'll answer Mapita's question a bit later on, talking about the Atlas game. Let's see. I think I had something else that I wanted to bring up. Obviously, like Carl had mentioned, the starting lineup. No Barreiro, no Mena, no Di Llorio.
No Mena like at all though. He didn't even
Yeah,
come
No.
off the
Mena didn't
bench.
play.
No.
So I'm starting to think like, is it related to his injury, or did he just have like a rest day, a day off or something? Because we could have used him if we were really going to go after this win. But something tells me Paiva was looking for a draw. He just wanted to get out of there with the point.
Yeah. Let's see. ¿Qué más? Obviously, we were scoreless at halftime. Looking at just past Joe Diaz Price got subbed in minute 64. We didn't see even Platano. Did we? Or I'm confusing the games.
No, I think
No. I don't think so. No, that Davila came off. That's when Barreiro subbed in, and then Fede subbed off, and Yairo subbed in. I don't think we saw anybody else after that. I don't know, guys. I don't. Okay, so
I think Platano's getting a raw deal. Like the guy you should be trying out to see if he's worth anything to your club is Platano, not Jorge Diaz Price.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
And
Platano, what little opportunity he's gotten, he's showed some things. And Diaz Price has shown nothing with a lot more opportunity. So I just don't know.
No,
I don't
I
know what
agree.
they're thinking.
I don't even know if they are thinking. And then we end with a loss. I mean, okay, like the title of this episode, and everybody listening, feel free to chime in. Are we at this point at a crisis moment? Because there was many questions about, whatever happens at the Atlas game, is that if we lose, is he gone? I'm gonna answer the question first, and I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say I think they're gonna keep him. I don't think they would invest in this whole new project with him, have 4 consecutive losses, maybe 5, quote, and then just get rid of him at this point. I honestly don't think que lo van a sacar. I had mentioned to you guys on our group chat kind of what Grupo Pachuca did with Pesolano and Pachuca. Awful season. I honestly was like, oh, he's gone. He's gone. No, he stayed, kind of overturned things a bit. So I think we're going to stick with Paiva to the end of the season and mid of next, depending on how he does. My opinion.
I agree. I don't think there's any way they fire him this season for any reason under any circumstances. I mean, they've already hit rock bottom. Like the expectations are already very low. The expectations can already stay where they are, or they can get better. I mean, there's nowhere to go from here but up. Honestly, we can't get any lower than we are right now. I'm not talking about table position because yes, we're not technically in last place, but we're down there.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get rid of him, but I don't like his attitude, because somehow in his press conferences he says we're getting better, we're not getting scored on as much, but we're not winning, guys. Like it's not an improvement to get scored on less but not win. Like the improvement is winning.
Yeah.
That should be like the improvement. But to say, oh, we're improving because we're getting scored on less, like I can't accept that. Like
That's
have to
true.
win.
That wasn't the comment of his that bothered me the most, though.
What was yours?
The comment of his that bothered me was against teams like Santos and Pachuca. It's normal to lose to them on the road. He said it's normal to lose to Santos and Pachuca on the road. We're not going to win every game. You know, there are teams that just don't win every game. And I'm like, bro, if you think for Club Leon to lose to anybody is normal and under any circumstances, the kind of club that we are, then I don't know if you're the right coach for this team. Like,
yeah, he sounds like he doesn't have a winner's mentality. He's more of a he's always going to have this title of formador. So I don't know. He's just not a winner. There's no winner in him.
yeah, his idea of progress and his idea of improvement are not in alignment with the kind of club that he is in charge of. I would say, like, it is not normal for, I mean, a team like Club Leon has to go into any league match thinking they can win it.
Yeah.
Any league match, anywhere it's played, Club Leon has to think that they can go anywhere in Liga MX and win. And his comments just throw that out the window, and that's the most concerning thing to me. I wanted to like him. I really liked him at first. I liked the energy that he brought in, and obviously the first few jornadas were very promising, all the way up until that America match. Everything up until that was quite promising. But the honeymoon with him, I think, is very much over at this point.
I think I'm hoping. I mean, I feel like I have instances where I'm like, I'm really lost with this team right now. I don't see any hope. No se ve que juegan a nada. Estamos perdidos. And then I think, okay, well, this, maybe if we have Tecillo back, that'll help us a little bit defensively. And then maybe there's, the last attacking third will improve a bit. I don't know. I have an instance of like a bit of optimism, and then, I get thrashed down. Like this past week, like I told you guys, I think we're gonna lose these next two games. I said I think we're
the
gonna
two that
lose
we
these
just
next two
played.
games.
Yeah, the two that mhm.
And what happened?
We
lost
lost
them.
them.
And
But
even
I
on
don't
the,
think
even on the pod midweek, I said, you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit. I'm gonna say we'll draw against Santos. That didn't happen.
I don't think.
What I said
Yeah,
is
I don't think we lost them in the way that you envisioned, though.
what do you mean? We still lost the games. We didn't get
We
anything out
did,
of
but I
them.
don't think you expected us to take the lead against Santos. I don't think you expected us to lose last minute to Pachuca the way that we did.
No, but we still lost in the end. I mean,
Damn, those are 4 points down the drain
Yeah.
because of bad decisions at the end of the game in each of those games.
And yet, if we can take down a struggling Atlas side at home on Sunday, and then go to Aguascalientes where we always win. We've won no matter how we've been playing. We always win there. Suppose we get 6 points out of these next two matches. Well, that'll probably put us where 8th, 9th place, something like that.
Right
Yeah,
now,
somewhere around there.
7 and 8th is San Luis and Cholos with 14. 7 and 8th at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Look at the teams that are in the repechaje positions right now. The table right now is quite bizarre. If you actually take a look at it, if the playoffs, if the Liguilla started today, the teams that would be in repechaje, you got Mazatlan, you got Cholos, you got Juarez, you got all these kind of teams that at the end of the season you don't expect them to be even sniffing those positions. And these things generally have a way of evening themselves out. I don't know, just hypothetically speaking, if we take 6 points out of these next matches, and we'll be in 8th, 9th place, and we'll still have to play Cruz Azul, we'll still have to play Querétaro, we'll still have to play Juarez, we still have to play Xolos. We didn't play Xolos yet, did we?
No.
No, like our direct competition for these repechaje spots, we still have to play all these teams. If we take 6 points out of these next two matches, which I'm not going to predict that we're going to do that. Well, actually, ultimately, when we do prediction time, I probably will end up predicting wins in both of those games. But, I mean, it's hard to do that right now. It's hard to predict 2 wins in a row for a team that's lost 4 in a row and is looking in dire straits.
Yeah.
But hypothetically speaking, were they to do that, I mean, there's still mathematically there's still a chance they can get into the top 4. Well,
I mean, that'll be a long shot. I think what I don't want to happen is like last season where we didn't start. We started okay, and then it all went down the drain. You know what I mean? And this is like, okay, we started a bit okay, knowing that it's a process, losing 4 consecutive games. Now it's like, how are we going to end it? Are we going to still keep going down the drain, not even make it a repechaje, which would be so... I'd just be like baffled. Or are we gonna change from here on out to the end of the season, see a bit of improvement, y meternos en repechaje? At this point, that's where I'm aiming at, repechaje.
Yeah, I mean that's the most. I'd say repechaje and an away game in repechaje. That's probably what we're shooting for right now. But if they can get a couple of favorable results in these next 2, 3, 4 matches, we can start having different conversations about what the expectations are. They can recapture a little bit of the lofty expectations that they always have at the beginning of the season that have kind of fallen by the wayside, but they can get back. I'm just that midfield. They were unprepared for the sudden loss of Santiago Colombato. I think that is by far, yes, Tecillo has been huge. But I mean, his replacement, Paul Belon, has been playing well. So I think the biggest loss has been Colombato because nobody has filled in to fill in for his role. Like nobody has adequately made up for what we lost by letting him go. Yeah, and this was surprising to me. I just kind of assumed I don't keep track of this stuff really, and I just assumed that the transfer window had closed, that you couldn't bring in any more new players. And then I just saw that America is bringing in Brian Rodriguez from LAFC, and I'm
Until
like,
the end of this month.
and I'm like, why haven't they gone out there? Javier Ibarra does not count. Why haven't they gone out there and tried to get a real replacement for Santiago Colombato? Or somebody for the midfield, like a legit refuerzo for the midfield. Why haven't they done that? Obviously, it's necessary. I'm disappointed in our directiva for that, because it would be one thing if the transfer window were closed and you got who you got, but they can still bring people in, and they haven't. I mean, I know they've got the limit on extranjeros, but anybody,
Yeah, I don't think they want to spend, and I don't think maybe they've asked Baiba. He's like, oh no, we're good with what we have. Let me, instead of bringing in another player and throwing him into the mix, and
even La Chofis. I can't believe I'm saying this, but like even La Chofis, they brought him to Pachuca. They could have brought him to León.
You didn't want him in León. You didn't want him in León.
I didn't, but I thought they would manage the absence of Colombato better than they have. And I'm not saying La Chofis is as good a player as Colombato is. He obviously is not. But like he doesn't take up a foreigner slot, and like that is somebody they could have legitimately brought in. León needed him more than Pachuca did. Or needed another refuerzo more than Pachuca did. So
imagine if we would have gotten Ponchito.
Yeah, Ponchito.
I would have came in clutch. Ponchito, if you're listening, please come back. Please come next season. We would really appreciate that. I mean, we need someone midfield. Like, it's just like Louis said, we didn't anticipate. We were counting on Colom Baby. Then when we all got shocked when he was like, well, he's leaving. So like Louis said, we haven't legitimately replaced his position. I mean, we're struggling, and we will continue to struggle until that gets taken care of. Mappy had asked about the total points. So he said, imagine if Leon wins all the remaining games, how many points would they accumulate? It'd be 21 points. If, miraculously we come back with 7 winning streak, we would end up with 30 points, which would get
that's
us
probably
up there.
That's probably in the top 4. 30 is probably in the top 4.
Which at the beginning of the pod, I had said we would land in 4th or 5th, but now I'm like, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but I think right now we're still playing for position in repechaje.
Yeah.
I don't. They could. Let's say they win 5 out of. Let's say they win 5, draw 1, and lose the other. Like I'm going up for the Tigres match, so I don't want this to happen, but I don't see how that's anything other than a loss.
Okay, so you're saying we win versus Atlas, Necaxa, Juarez. Are you counting Juarez as a win?
Yeah, Juarez.
We lose against Tigres. Do we win against Cruz Azul?
I'll call that one the draw.
And then we have Querétaro and Xolos after.
And when we win the last 2 against Querétaro and Xolos, those are both at home.
That's winning 5 out of the 7 games.
Losing 1 and drawing the other.
5 times
so
3,
that would be
15,
that would be 26 points, I think. No.
Plus, what are we at? 9 right now? 16 plus 9, 25.
25.
Yeah, I think that's the target. That's the target for us at the end of the season. But let's not forget.
25 is probably a home game in repechaje.
Yeah, let's not forget, man. These are teams that we thought Mazatlan was going to be an easy win. And they ended up. So don't underestimate Necaxa.
No, I'm not underestimating.
I remember was saying the Mazatlan game, was weird. Back then, you said we would classify it as a trap game, and I didn't think it was a trap game. I agreed with you, and then look what happened. We lost against Mazatlan.
Well, it shouldn't have been a trap game because we came off of a bad loss.
Yeah.
If we had gotten a big win at Monterrey and then come home against Mazatlan, that we would have definitely classified that as a trap game.
So if any of these
that Mazatlan game, That Mazatlan game is what's killing us right now. Away losses to Monterrey, Santos, and Pachuca. If you win that Mazatlan game,
Mm-hmm.
you're not crying about those losses, away losses to good teams so much. It's that Mazatlan game that really stings right now.
I mean, it was game over in the first 15,
It
and I
just
was gonna
got out of
turn it
hand.
off,
It just
and
got
I
out of
was
hand in
like,
the first 15 minutes.
yeah,
Mazatlan was not the better team in that game. They just
they had the best
things,
15 minutes.
they had the best 15 minutes.
And that's all they needed, and that's all they wanted, and we
Yeah.
couldn't even come back with that.
No.
Papi Deves said, totally agree. Colombato made a huge difference in the midfield. I feel the sudden transfer of Colombato affected the whole team 100%. I think we would have more wins if we started Colombato.
Yeah, he just made the whole
Yeah.
attack more dynamic.
Yeah.
Just whether he was scoring himself or creating for others, I mean, he made it. He made things so much. He made things flow so much more.
He added sugar and spice and everything nice, like the Powerpuff Girls. El Tridente. Anyways, ignore what I said. My question was, are these next couple of games, are any of these a possible trap game? And I'm gonna say Cholos would be a trap game, even though it's the end of the season. I feel like they would beat us.
Depends on what kind of form we're coming in with. If they've kind of turned things around by then, if they can kind of see a path toward a legitimate Liga position, like they could be in within reach of a top 4 position at that point. I think they would really go for it. Kind of depends on how they come into that match. I agree with you. We never have an easy time against Cholos.
Yeah.
Whether it's there or here.
Yeah. Carlos?
I'd have to say Querétaro. I think Querétaro trap game, yeah, because just watching some of their games, I've watched a couple of their games. They've played okay until like certain minutes where they just break down.
Yeah.
But they're not a bad team. They're a good team. They just haven't won any games, but they play good football. They have good strikers. That could easily be a trap game, and obviously we like to underestimate Querétaro. The whole league does because they've just been at the bottom for the last couple seasons. So I think that's definitely a trap game.
Interesting. Let's go ahead and move on to the Liga rundown, which this weekend has been all over the place. So starting off with Chivas winning 4-0 against Necaxa was a huge surprise. I know Chivas Hermanos were probably shocked because it was their first win of the season and 4 goals away. I mean, that must have been a great celebration for them on a Friday
Won't
night.
happen again.
I mean, what happened yesterday?
No, I mean for Chivas, it won't. A 4-0 won't happen. They won't score 4-0 again.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about their win at home against Monterrey, please.
Louis, it's the rundown. I'm sorry.
You can mention that it happened, but we're not going to talk about how it happened, please.
Okay. Querétaro beat Xolos 2-0. The duelist of the Clásico Regio 0-0. Obviously, I couldn't watch it because it was on Fox Premium, and I don't have Fox Premium. So there you go. Atlas tying 1-1 against Puebla. Goliza en el Azteca. America 7-0. Did you guys watch that game?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Sad.
You didn't watch it?
It was
no.
sad.
It was sad.
I've been kind of I've lost the desire to watch non-Leon Liga Mex games while this unfortunate streak of ours has been going on. It's kind of sucked my ganas out to watch other Liga MX matches.
Yeah, made me forget about our 5-1.
Me too.
Because at that point, like that was maybe the biggest margin of goals in the league until this 7-0. So made me forget about it.
Yeah, it was definitely a show. I feel bad for Sebastián Jurado that there was a picture of all the matches where Jurado got scored on, like 5-0, 7-0, all these. I mean, pobre, but I mean, Cruz Azul was just non-responsive, and even with Funes Mori's twin Ramiro, he got thrashed out there. They even had to sub him out. But Cruz Azul ended up losing their technical first head that rolls this season.
Who's
Potro
next?
Gutierrez. Well,
What do you guys think is next?
Who
I'm
did
gonna
I
go with
say was
Lilini.
next?
Yeah,
No,
I
I
was
don't
gonna say
think
Lilini.
they're keeping Lilini
No,
until the end of the season. They're keeping it
I
to the end
don't.
of the season. Yo pienso.
No, because
I don't know.
you bring in the bomba, like you gotta
Yeah,
win.
you bring in Dani Alves,
But
and
Dani Alves no puede hacer todo. I mean, he's not the only one who's
well,
playing.
but he's been bad.
Okay, but this is the thing. And let me just say this out there because me and Tom were talking about it. Just like, for example, Ramiro Funes Mori. I mean, that guy came thrown into play. Dani Alves too. He got there in the weekend. Midweek, he already was starting a game. I mean, he has started every single game. They haven't taken him out. I mean, some of these players that have recently just joined, Liga MX in the team, they just throw them out there. They're not in perfect shape.
But he's not adjusting. He's gotten worse. I'm sorry. I just I don't.
No,
I'm not on the
no,
Dani
no.
Alves train.
Same
I'm
because
not in the
when
Dani Alves train, but I'm just saying.
no, because when Andres Mosquera joined Leon, he literally got off the plane, subbed in against Cruz Azul, and had a great game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's a.
I'm not buying any of the Dani Alves excuses. He's been bad. He has not helped, and he's made the league look really, really bad by hyping up his fichaje, calling him the biggest fichaje in the history of the Liga MX. If he'd come 10 years ago, maybe. When he comes when he's almost 40, he's not the fichaje bomba anymore.
Bigger than Landon Donovan.
No, he's better than
Nobody's bigger.
Atalanta.
Nobody's bigger than Landon Donovan.
Bigger than Rafa Marquez.
Good person. No, Rafa.
Damn, I wish we had a Rafa Marquez right now.
I know.
Imagine
I
how
was doing
clutch that would
reminisce
be.
on when we did have him and we won the league, and that was a true captain. No offense. Anyways, back to America beating Grasul 7-0. First head that rolls, Potro Gutierrez will be interim of Cruz Azul. Juarez Mazatlan drawing 1-1. Santos beating Pumas 5-1, which we all saw the gif of Dani just being thrashed, which that game did not go as I thought would gone, but hey. San Luis beating Toluca 1-0. The Nacho Ambriz train. And then obviously our loss versus Pachuca 1-0. So next upcoming game, obviously there's been a game every single there has been a game every single day except for Monday. With the Chivas Monterrey, then the America beating Querétaro. Tonight is Pumas Tigres. Will we see Pumas lose again at home? We'll see.
Yes, we will.
I don't like to see either team win, so I'm hoping for a draw. Scoreless draw.
Scoreless draw. Probably
I'm not.
I don't
seeing
think
it.
so. I think it's Tigres 3-0. That's what I'm thinking.
Wow, 3-0.
And
Damn.
Lilini
Shout
could
out
be
to
fired
Luis.
as early as tonight. Sorry, I should have prefaced that with hot take, but oh well.
I know, right? Tomorrow, Pachuca versus Atlas and Xolos versus Santos tomorrow, and then match day 11 will continue on Friday. So, our next
Hopefully
game.
Hopefully the fact that Atlas has a midweek game and we do not will work in our favor on Sunday.
Yes. Sunday's game at home. Louis, tickets are 2 for 1.
They are. I got my 2 cortesias for my 2 abonos, so you guys are welcome to come down and use them.
I'm waiting for a later game.
Oh.
Maybe a repechaje game. I'll be there. We just need to get there, right?
Well, and then we have to host a repechaje game.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, if it's close by, I'll think about it. Sanako
Nothing's
commenting
close
on
to
the
Torreon.
Monterrey, Monterrey.
That's about it. I don't think we're going to have a
game was
repechaje game against one of the Monterrey teams, though.
No.
Yeah.
But moving on to the Atlas game, how are we feeling about this game? Obviously, we had mentioned earlier in the pod that Atlas is not coming in their best form, but obviously van a decir, Leon's facing el bicampeón de Atlas, and obviously we can't, discredit a player like Quiñones and how much danger he can do. Lineup wise, as Paiva likes to just switch it up on us, do we have any idea of what we could see versus what we would want to see? Obviously, without Celestine, as he will be serving a game.
I think he'll do the same 5 back line. He's going to play it safe, I think, and then try to find something on the counterattack. It's interesting that Davila played striker again.
I had mentioned, didn't I tell you guys, what if we saw that again?
Yeah. So we're kind of going backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
But I expect Barreiro maybe to get back in there with Belon, Osby, Byron, Fidel. Fidel, Chapito. I'm going to say Chapo starts.
You say Chapo starts?
Mena.
I think Viorio is back in the starting lineup as well.
Okay.
He
Let's
looks.
say Mena. Campbell's a little injured right now, so he might not start. So we have either Fede or Jairo. What do you guys think?
Jairo.
Might be Fede.
I think it might.
I don't know. Fede. I mean,
but I want Jairo.
Yeah, Jairo has been a bright spot this season in the minutes he has played, and I don't think he's been particularly rewarded for it.
Yeah. Chat. Anybody want to share what you want to see? What do we think about Osby? I know we always talk about Osby every game, but what do we think about him this past game versus Pachuca?
I thought he looked a little bit better. It's hard for me to compliment him ever, but I thought he looked a little bit better. I thought there was more in general, especially in the first half when Leon was clearly the better team, the first half hour or so. There was a lot going down the left channel. I said that in the chat. I mean, I was sitting on that side of the field, so I was seeing a lot of the ball being played through our left channel, both through Fede and Osby. And I was encouraged by that because the last few matches, it's all been Byron on the right. Like, if we didn't have that, we didn't have anything. And they kind of mixed it up a little bit. Like, things were going through the middle too. They were going through the middle and on the left. And Osby was a big part of that, so I'm giving him his props, which is hard for me to do. I don't like doing that. Usually he's not worthy of it, but he looked a little bit better, and hopefully he can keep it up.
Yeah, I think he's doing all right. But I just want to call out the fact that we didn't really cause any danger to Pachuca in the first 90 minutes. And it was the last play, which there was a picture going around social media of Rodolfo Cota heading the ball. People saying this was the most dangerous play of the game. And so that's pretty concerning from a team that has as much offensive firepower as we do. It shows that Paiva was maybe using a defensive formation a little too aggressively and not attacking enough. But we had enough to win it if we had just attacked a little more.
And let me just say, Cota lining up as an attacker in a Jornada 10, like you don't normally expect to see your goalkeeper line up as an attacker on the last set piece of the game unless it's like an elimination situation. So that just kind of shows the desperation of this
tired
team.
of losing. He's tired of getting scored on. He's like, if you guys aren't making the goals, then let me get one in. And if he would have made that goal, it would have been
how epic would that have been? That would have turned the whole season around. If he did, if he'd done that.
Amazing.
By the way, there was a press conference today with Chapito Montes, and he called himself. He self-proclaimed the captain role. What do you guys think? Because a lot of people are saying no.
I was wondering if we were gonna touch on that press conference. I myself didn't bring myself to watch it. I pretty much knew how it was gonna go. Obviously, the directiva and the social media team and anyone else around the team, they're not dumb. They know that the opinion, the consensus going around a lot of the fans right now is that el vestidor está roto por culpa de Chapo Montes. And so they like, okay, you gotta you got to go
Come
out
out.
and dar la cara. But I knew, like, I didn't listen to the press conference, but I saw the transcript. I saw the comments, and I was like, this is obviously, they're just they're doing whatever they can. The same thing with the 2-for-1 tickets. They're doing whatever they can to try to calm the fan base. And they're like, you're going to go out and say some words, but we're going to script it for you. Seemed very, very scripted, all of it. Like, he said all the right things. He didn't really, there was nothing, even when he asked about Holland, and when he was asked about Holland, he talked about that a little bit. Like, he didn't say anything earth-shattering. He didn't say anything groundbreaking. He said all the right things. He's just, and I knew that's how it was going to be. I couldn't really buy too much into it.
Yeah.
I didn't take that much from it, I should say.
Yeah, but there is something pointed out by Tito Echeverri on Tribuneros.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So he pointed out the fact that Chapito referred to Paiva as Renato. He called him by his first name. He didn't call him Profe. He didn't call him the coach. He called him by his first name. That's what he referred to him as. So he's like, there's a certain respect there between these two guys. As much as people like to think that there's tension there, calling someone by their first name like that, instead of saying Profe, El Profe Paiva, he's saying Renato. So he pointed that out. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if you guys think there's anything there, but there's obviously a lot of talk about tensions between Paiva, maybe Chapito, the locker room. But the fact that he's calling him by his first name is different, because usually players refer to their coach as El Profe, right? El Profe this, El Profe that. But he's calling him by his first name, Renato. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's interesting. I didn't really, like Louis, I didn't even bother to, listen to it. I thought the same thing that Louis did. Like, obviously he's the reason why a lot of people are talking. He's been criticized a lot. And, we had mentioned about, maybe the players need a little talk in the principal's office to chill out, because they can't just be running, the show and running out all the other coaches. So I think that's interesting. I guess maybe we'll never know, but I thought his quotes were just very, for example, entendemos el sentimiento de la afición y lo respetamos, están en todo su derecho, ellos nos vienen a apoyar y no estamos respondiendo, sentimos frustración, tuvimos buen inicio de torneo y hoy estamos en mala racha, solo trabajando saldremos de aquí. It's very basic. I mean, something that you would just say. Also, asumo las críticas, en mi caso soy el capitán y sé de la responsabilidad. Soy el jugador que tiene más tiempo en la institución. Me siento conectado con la gente.
Is he the captain, or is it time to give that role to Cota or someone else? Because honestly,
Rafa Marquez to come back.
Because honestly, I think he should be coming off the bench. And if you come off the bench, you're not the captain. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it should be Cota. I think he's the one who's been shouldering the captain's load, whatever that is to you guys. I mean, what it is to me is what Cota's been doing for his past few seasons. He's
That's a fair argument. Yeah. Luis Montes hasn't ever since that MVP season that he had. He was never the same player again.
And then on top of that, it's like a leader on the field. You know what I mean? And that's what we needed most. That's where it needs to transpire most. And I think other players are taking upon that role, especially Cota. I mean, that's what you need, a constant player that is, being the leader that we want them to be. And I think, I don't know, I think his time is running out. So yeah, but it's a 2-for-1. We'll see how packed it gets. I mean, I don't, shout out to Chivas del Norte, have, good guys, but the estadio was not full as much as the players came out and told their players, come to the game. It's on us. We're paying free tickets. That stadium was not full. So hopefully we won't have the same case. And hopefully we'll have a bit more people despite the 4 consecutive losses in our game.
I think because the fact that it's Atlas and there's so much recent history there, and we haven't really gotten a revancha against them, I think that might play a role in how crowded the stadium ends up being.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you guys ready for
It is
predictions?
another Sunday night. It is another Sunday night match, though.
Is it 9
So
or
we'll see.
7?
It's 7,
7. Okay.
which
Not
is better
bad.
than 9 and better than 5.
Yeah, well, it's
Yes.
five here.
Well,
The
5
sun's
there,
still
but
up
I
here.
mean 7 local time.
5 for Carlos. You guys ready for prediction time?
Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
People in the chat, drop your prediction for the match versus Atlas, and we will as well.
Prediction time.
Louis, prediction time. What is your prediction for Sunday night's match?
Yeah. I think that, like I was just saying, I think that recent history between the two clubs that hasn't been las facturas no se han cobrado todavía. I think that's going to play a role, and I think we're going to come out a little bit hungrier at home. I think it'll be a fuller house. And Atlas is really struggling. They are not anything like the bicampeón version. I don't see any way that they're going to threaten to be a tricampeón, which is comforting. Comforting to think about right now. Yeah, you know what? I think Leon's gonna win 2-0. 2-0. Mm-hmm. I think they're gonna be hard to score against. I think they're gonna come out with that similar defensive shape, and I think they're gonna get some good opportunities on the counter. I think, somebody like Davila could play a real important role in this game. I think maybe Diorio gets back on the score sheet, which is something he sorely needs. He just hasn't had the opportunities. I think when he came in and as a sub against Pachuca, I think he looked pretty well. He was really getting in there, going after balls and trying to get possession, trying to hold up, like doing everything. He just hasn't gotten a lot of chances to score since those first 4 matches. He's still like in the top 4 or 5 goal scorers in the league. I think Henry Martin is leading right now. He's got like 6 or whatever, 6, maybe 7, something like that. And Diore's down there with 4 still. So he's still up there. I think maybe Davila and Diore will get on the score sheet, and it's going to be 2-0.
Okay, bold 2-0, leaving Atlas scoreless. Carlos, what is your prediction?
I'm going to make a bold prediction. I'm going to say that Renato Paiva plays a backline of 5, very defensive, and he asks his players to go for a clean sheet, which we're going to get because we're so defensive. And I think there's going to be one or a few lethal counterattacks by our attackers, and we might get one in there. So I'm going to go 1-0 Leon.
1-0, okay. 2-0, 1-0. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 with us winning. I don't think we'll be scoreless. I don't know, guys. I'm just still, I guess until Tecillo comes back, I'm still not having us like that. So I'm gonna say 2-1.
It's a perfectly fair assumption to say that we're gonna get scored on, because we've gotten scored on almost every time. Yeah.
I think I can't remember the exact number. They were talking during a transmission about how many goals Leon has in contra so far. I think it's in the 20s, no?
It's too many. That's all I know.
Or something like that. I need to calculate
it's
it.
Not.
But
they're not the worst defensively, just because there are still teams like Cruz Azul out there.
Yeah.
But
no, it's true.
Yeah,
they're not the best at this point.
I think it's 19.
19?
19. Yeah. 19.
19 goals in contra. Senako is saying 1-1 for me. I was gonna say 1-1 too, but I was gonna be a little optimistic since we're home. He said, "I'm not ready to be positive. Have the fear we will lose this one." Yeah, Senako. I was thinking a 1-1 as well. But try and be optimistic. We're at home. Hopefully, this is the win that they need to kind of jump back. As Louis was saying, we have Necaxa after, then Juarez, which could be winnable games if we look better. And then we have Tigres, which can be a little rough rough patch. I mean, the season's gonna end real soon. It's just crazy how many games are just back to back to back. Um, but yeah, guys, that's all we have for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. Everybody that joined us in the chat, shout out to Sanaku, Mapi TV. Hopefully, we'll have the Green Power Ranger come join us live at some point. So we haven't seen him, but thank you guys for definitely giving us your input and your thoughts and everything. We love the conversation to keep going. Everybody on Twitter and YouTube, also just watching us and popping in. Thank you. Don't forget to follow Club Leon EN in case you cannot watch Sunday's game. If you're out, you're working, whatever, don't forget to check them out, and they'll keep you updated live during the game with live updates. Don't forget to follow Louis, as he will be there live in color. Hopefully gets a good outcome, because I know these past games have been rough to go to in person.
They certainly have.
But yeah, guys, so Liga MX fans, right now we'll let you guys go so you can watch the Pumas versus Tigres game, which I'll be watching as well. So, but yeah, guys, thank you for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and we'll see you guys on another episode of the Lions Den podcast.